Hi everyone, today we're going to be going over state test questions that include questions from 2021 and previous tests. We're going to be looking at just questions that focused on fractions and decimals. So how can you use this video? As I'm starting each question, you can pause the video, read the question through, and then solve it on a piece of paper. Once you've solved it, you can unpause the video and check to see if you agree with my strategy and the solution. Now, keep in mind there are several strategies we can use to solve some of these problems, so perhaps you did things in a different order, a different way. As long as you're showing your work on your page and your solution is the same, you're in good shape. Okay, so let's start with number one. You can pause it here if you'd like to read it through, and then unpause it after you've solved it and ready to check the solution. All right, so the art teacher has a total of 7/8 pounds of clay, and they want to make groups of 1/16 over and over and over for each workstation. So that implies we're going to be doing division. We always start with our total amount, so 7/8 is what's going to be the beginning of our division expression. We're dividing it into 1/16 groups. All right, so here we're going to follow keep, change, flip. We're going to keep the first fraction how it is. We'll change the division to multiplication, and we'll flip the second fraction over. So 7/8 times 16 over 1. We can cross-reduce our fractions. The 8 and the 16 are both divisible by 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 16 divided by 8 is 2. From here, we're going to multiply our numerators. 8 times 2 is 14. And in the denominator, 1 times 1 gives us 1, right? So that simplifies to 14. So that means we've made 14 pieces of or sections of clay that can go at each workstation. There's some more information in the problem though. We're splitting it up into 2 classrooms. So those 14 groups of clay have to be split up into 2 groups. That means 7 sections of clay or workstations will go into each classroom. So 7 workstations. All right, let's move on to number 2. Again, you can pause the video here, read it through, solve it, and then check to see if you agree with your solution. All right, so Carol has 1 5/8 cups of yogurt, and each smoothie uses 1/3 cups. We want to know how many smoothies Carol can make. So again, this is division here. We want to make groups of 1/3 over and over and over from the total of 1 5/8. So 1 5/8 divided by 1/3. To do this division, we have to change our mixed number into an improper fraction. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13. So that's 13/8 divided by 1/3. Again, we're going to follow keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction how it is. I'm just going to rewrite it on the side. 13/8 stays the same. We're going to change the division to multiplication and flip the second fraction over to 3 over 1. We can't cross-reduce here, so we're just going to multiply straight across. 13 times 3 is 39, and 8 times 1 is 8. And then we're going to change that back into a mixed number. I'm going to do the division on the side here. 8 goes into 39 4 times. That's 32. That means we have 7 left over. Our mixed number is going to be 4 wholes, 7 left over out of 8. So 4 and 7/8. So it's asking what's the maximum number of smoothies Carol can make. At most, Carol can make 4 whole smoothies. She'll make 7/8 of another smoothie, but that's not enough to make 5 whole smoothies. So 4 whole smoothies. All right, let's look at number 3. So what do we notice? How much is shaded in when we were doing our modeling? The amount that is shaded in here represents our total amount, and that is 2 and another 1/3. So our first number is going to be 2 and 1/3 to start our division expression, 2 and 1/3. So automatically I can cross out option C and D. Those do not start with 2 and 1/3. So what do I notice? I notice we're making groups of 2/3 over and over and over. So we're dividing 2 and 1/3 by 2/3. All right, from here, if you're not sure what the model is telling you, you can actually solve that. Change your 2 1/3 into an improper fraction and follow keep, change, flip. Otherwise, if we're looking at our model here, let's reason it out. We've made one group of 2/3, two groups of 2/3, three groups of 2/3. This would have been the fourth group, but notice we have one out of two pieces here. So that means we have half of a group. So we can make 3 1/2 groups. So that is choice A, 3 1/2. All right, let's go to number 4. How many 4/5 cups of servings are in 4/9 of a cup of yogurt? So we want to know how many 4/5 we can make out of 4/9. So that means 4/9 is our whole, or the total amount we have, and we want to divide it by 4/5. We're going to keep, change, flip. Remember, that also means multiply by the reciprocal. So 4/9 times the reciprocal of 5/4. 5/4 is the reciprocal of 4/5. We can cross reduce here. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And when I multiply across, we end up with 5/9. So that's choice B. Number 5. Jason uses a 1/3 gallon pitcher to fill an empty 3/4 gallons water jug. All right, so we want to know how many 1/3 are going to fit into the 3/4 over and over and over again. So 3/4 is our total that needs to be filled. We want to know how many 1/3 fit into it. So there's our division problem. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal, keep, change, flip. So 3/4 times 3 over 1 gives us 9 over 4. Then we're going to change it to a mixed number. 4 goes into 9 2 times, that's 8, which means we'd have 1 left over. So 2 1/4 containers of 1/3 need to be used to fill up the 3/4 gallons of jug. 2 1/4 is between 2 and 3 full pitchers. All right, number 6. An art teacher had 2/3 gallons of paint to pour into containers. He's pouring 1/8 gallon into each container. All right, so the total amount of paint is 2/3. That's what we're starting with. And we want to make groups of 1/8. That's going to go into each of the containers. So we'll do keep, change, flip. 2/3 times 8 over 1. No cross reducing here, so we're going to multiply across. 2 times 8 is 16, and 3 times 1 is 3. 3 can go into 16 5 times. That would be 15. The difference between 16 and 15 is 1, and our denominator stays the same. All right, so how many containers had paint in them, including the one that was partially filled? Well, we can make 5 full containers. Then we'd use a 6th container that gets filled up 1/3 of the way, so 6 containers are used. All right, number 7. So Maddie has a piece of ribbon that's 3 1/2 yards long. Each bow requires 3/4 yard long, and we're using this division sentence to solve it. All right, when we ask how many 3/4 we can make out of 3 1/2, each of the bows we're making is 3/4 yards long. So the 4 2/3 tells us how many bows can be made. It's not how many yards are left over, nothing with the distance. All right, so I know that it can't be choice A because we're told that each bow is 3/4 yard long. The division sentence doesn't ever tell us how much is left over. That would imply subtraction. And Maddie made 4 bows. With the 2/3 that's left over, we wouldn't change the context of what the 4 represents and the 2/3 represents. So C is not appropriate. D is appropriate. She's made 4 bows from the piece of ribbon and enough for 2/3 of a bow. All right, and that's it for the fractions and decimals packet. If you have questions, you can email me or message me through Google Classroom. All right, we'll speak to you guys and see you guys soon. Bye.